Today we are going to learn about the tablet granulation. In previous lecture we have finished with in previous two lectures we have finished with our tablet types of tablets, and in subsequent lecture we also have finished with the tablet additives or tablet excipients. Okay, in today's lecture we are going to start with a tablet granulation. Okay. Now firstly, the learning objectives of today's lecture. After completing this online lecture, you all will able to understand the need of granulation, means why we are preparing a granules from powders. That is our aim, firstly, to learn about that. And second learning objective is you will able to differentiate between different methods of granulation, means which are the different methods of granulation. You can able to differentiate between these different methods of granulation. Now firstly we will look little bit introduction about the granulation. Now for this lecture I want you all to have a pen and notebook so that you can write your answers and then you can tell me. Okay, in that first, now I want to ask you now what do you mean by granules? Kindly unmute yourself and tell me what is the definition of granule, or what do you mean by granule?
Fine particles of the powder.
Fine particles of powders are not granules, they are different. Okay, good try. Anyone?
Granules are the
Fine powdered particles are gathered to make large particles.
Fine particles gathered together to get a large particles. Okay, that is okay, correct. One more.
Granules are the irregular shaped particles.
Irregular shaped particles. Okay, it is we can say slightly correct, but it is also correct. Okay, now what are granules? The granules are aggregations of fine particles of powders, okay, in a mass of about spherical shape. Okay, these are the aggregates of particles, means these are not a single entity or separate particles, they are the aggregates of particles. Okay, these aggregates we can call them as a granules, and if there is no aggregation then we can call it as a powders. And these are about to shape of spherical, but not complete spherical shape, but near about spherical shape. That's why these particular aggregations we can call it as a granules. Now secondly, I would like to ask, what is granulation then? Yes, unmute yourself and tell me. Now you come to know what are granules, how they are differ from powders. Now you tell me, what is the granulation?
Granulation is a process in which the primary powdered particles are made to adhere or make aggregations.
Okay, means it is just a simple, it is, we know that granulation is a aggregation of particles, and in granules are aggregation of particles, and granulation is just a process of formation of granules. Okay, it is just a process of formation of granules, means process of formation of aggregates of your particles. Okay, that particular thing we can call it as a granulation. Now next question is, what is granulation technology then?
Technology that is used in the granulation of powders.
Okay, technology that used in a granulations. Okay, then technology used. Okay, you can say manufacture or formulate. Okay, technology used to formulate granules. Okay, that particular thing you need to clear about. What are granules? Firstly, they are aggregates of particle. Granulation, the process of formation of granules, means process of formation of aggregation of particles. And thirdly, granulation technology means technology that used to formulate a granules. Okay, what technology we are using for the granulation, and so that it will convert, the powder will get converted into the granules form. Okay, these all things you need to be clear before learning the types of granulation. Now next point is that, my next question is that, why we prepare a granules when we have a powders?
The flow property.
Okay, first is right, improve the flow property. Another one,
to bring the uniformity.
To bring the uniformity. Uniformity is also right. Then
Compression characteristics.
to improve the compression characteristics, that is also right. Okay, these are the needs of granulation, means why we are preparing a granules. Okay, from powders there is a need. Okay, or we can say this is a need of granulation while doing the tablets. Now first we will look, these are the needs of granulation. Firstly, to avoid the powder segregation, that is very important. Secondly, to enhance the flow properties or flow of powder. Then to promote the uniform mixtures. Then to produce a dust free formulation, that is also important. And then fourth one is to eliminate poor content uniformity. and lastly to improve the compaction characteristics of mixture. Okay, these are the four, we can say, needs or reasons why we need to convert our powder in a granule form. Okay, now we will look one by one what actually the powder segregation, what actually the flow of powder. Now firstly we will look towards the to avoid the powder segregation. Now in this figure you can observe these are the powders. Okay, each suppose this particular thing, we can say this is a drug particles. Okay, then this complete black solid, we can say it is one of the excipient, then white solid, it is another of excipient. This is a powder form. Okay, if this is a powder form, it is when we convert it into granules, it will form like this aggregates. One drug, another we can say excipient particles, together they come and they will form a aggregates of particles and form a granules. Okay, and as you know that in case of tableting or in case of we can say preparing a powder blend, we need to follow a number of steps in a powder, like blending, then we can go for the compression. During that your powder is continuously in a shaking motion. Okay, so that in that reason, if the particle size of each and every particle is different, then in that case all of you know that when we shake a powder which is having different particle size in a sieves, okay, then you will always observe that the some particles will separated from others, means whatever the heavy particles, they will come at the top of your we can say pot. If you are shaking it in a pot, then they will come at the top, then little bit whatever the fine particles, they will at the bottom. We can call it as a segregation. And if in this segregation, if your drug particle size is different and your we can say other excipient particle size is different, then your drug and excipients will get separated. Okay, and they will result in a, at the time of compression, they will result in a weight variation. Okay, that is the reason, means every tablet will not get of same weight, the tablet weight get variate, and ultimately weight will get variate. It will get variation with a due to that there is a variation in dose of your drug in each and every tablet. So that we need to avoid powder segregation. For that purpose we can convert them into granules. Now granules will not get separated because granules are having uniform particle size of distribution, means their particle size distribution is uniform. Due to that they will not get segregate, and there is a less chances or no chances, we can say, of weight variation. Okay, then second one, that is to enhance the flow of powders. All of you know that the granules will increase the flow properties by simply reducing the angle of repose. Okay, due to decreasing angle of repose after preparation of granulation, granule will enhance the flow of powder. Okay, that is the reason why we need to prepare a granulation. Then third one, to produce a uniform mixture. Mixtures of various particles tend to segregate, that we have seen a previous slide, in transport or handling. Whenever we are doing it in a transport or handling, and because of differences in particle size, shape and density, that's why whenever we are handling or whenever we are mixing a powders for the granulation, at that time it should not get separated. Okay, for that reason we need to produce its granules, and then we can do the better mixing, so that it will give you uniform mixtures. Then next one is dust free formulation. Now all of you know that what do you mean by dust. Okay, in this case here is a dust, means the dust of your we can say mixture of powders. Whenever we are going for the granulation, okay, if you are using direct powder for the compression, in that case the powder will flow from tablet hopper to the dies and die cavity, and then it will get compressed. During that flow, if you are using only powder, the powder will form a dust. Okay, and it will get circulated in whatever your production area or wherever we are doing the tablet operation or granulation operation. Okay, here in that environment it will get circulated. Okay, and if you convert it into a granule form, then there is a less dust formation or no dust formation, we can say. Okay, to avoid this, why dust free formulation is required? This is actually required for the purpose to avoid the cross contamination. What do you mean by cross contamination? Tell me. Did anyone knows the meaning of cross contamination? It is due to the dust whatever the dust is arise during the formulation, due to that there is a cross contamination. Did anyone know what is cross contamination? Be fast. Yes, what is cross contamination? Okay, the cross contamination means whenever we are formulating a particular drug dosage form, suppose consider we are manufacturing a tablets of paracetamol, and in the same production area we are manufacturing tablets of aspirin in a two different machines. Okay, but production area is same, there is no separation between these two machines. Okay, what will happen whenever we are adding a granulation? Suppose consider the tablet of paracetamol, we are only using a powders. Okay, in that case what will happen, whenever we are starting the process, the paracetamol dust will float in an environment and it will contaminate your aspirin tablet also in the same area, whatever which is going to be produced in a same area. Means your aspirin tablet, after evaluation, it will also show you some traces of paracetamol. Means this is a cross contamination. Means you don't expect paracetamol in an aspirin tablet, but still due to the dusting of paracetamol granulation or paracetamol powders, that dust will goes into your we can say aspirin tablet. That particular we can thing we can call it as a cross contamination. Okay, and last is a need of granulation to eliminate a poor content uniformity. That is important one, very important. Poor content uniformity, whenever the word comes with a content uniformity, it related with only your potency of drug or drug content. Okay, now if you are using direct powder, then uniformity of dose in each and every tablet will be varied very largely, and in case of granules it is varied in very slow manner. Okay, or very less manner. Then next, the methods of granulation. Now you tell me which are the different methods of granulation. Yes, be fast.
Wet granulation, dry granulation.
Okay, these are the two methods, but actually wet granulation and dry granulation. Dry granulation is of two types. Is there anyone? Okay, dry granulation is of two types. Granulation methods, dry granulation, wet granulation. Dry granulation is again two types. Most of the times you are getting confused in this. The dry granulation is of two types, that is direct compression and secondly compression granulation. Okay, means methods of granulation. Firstly, dry granulation. Okay, dry granulation is of again two types, direct compression and compression granulation. And secondly, separate method we can call it as a wet granulation. In wet granulation is again there are two methods, that is I didn't mention it over here, but these two methods are simply aqueous wet granulation and non-aqueous wet granulation. Okay, these are the two methods of wet granulation. Now we will initially look towards the dry granulation first, that is direct compression. Now you tell me what is direct compression. Yes, what do you mean by direct compression? Be fast. We have to finish this granulation today. Yes, Dharandale is there. Onkar Dharandale, kindly tell me what do you mean by direct compression? If you are wrong, it doesn't matter. You can tell me anything. If it is wrong, then I will correct. Okay, the powder is
directly compressed.
Okay, the powder is from the tablet. Okay, in a dry granulation, first direct compression. when we are doing a direct compression, whenever your drug dose is very large, okay, if you say your drug dose is 700 mg or 1000 milligram, as it is a drug dose is very large, in that case we are doing a direct compression and we don't need for any further granulation. Okay, secondly, direct compression is done if your powder or drug is less stable in wet granulation also, or it does not follow any other granulation technique. In that case also we are using a direct compression. Okay, generally the sodium or salts, generally if you want to formulate a tablets of salt like sodium chloride, calcium chloride, okay, they are generally directly compressible because they are we can say their dose is high. Mostly the antacid tablets are also directly compressed because in case of that where we are using calcium carbonates and all, they are generally having a large dose. In that case also we are doing a direct compression. Okay, and then compression granulation means we are preparing a granules by compressing with each other. Okay, now we will look towards when to choose dry methods. Whatever these two dry methods, that is direct compression or compression granulation, when we are going to use this. Tell me, when we are choosing a dry methods, that is compression granulation or direct compression over the wet granulation.
Large capacity tablets.
Okay, first if the dose is high, large capacity tablets, then okay, yes,
If the drugs are sensitive to the moisture.
Drug is sensitive to the moisture, that is also right. Arjun? Yes? Okay, we will see one by one. Now firstly, as you have told that if drug dose is too high, then we can choose a dry method. Secondly, if drug do not compress well after wet granulation, if you are using a drug and we are converting that drug in a wet granulation, and if it is not able to compress well, then we can choose a dry method. Then heat sensitive drug, that is also important. In case of wet granulation, majorly we need to do the drying after doing a wet granulation, so that if your drug is very heat sensitive, then that drugs will not support the drying after, we can say, doing a wet granulation. So that in that case we can choose the dry methods. Then thirdly, moisture sensitive drug, that is also you have said, those drugs which are remain unstable, which are very hygroscopic or they are deliquescent in nature, will get converted into the liquid after coming in contact with small amount of water, then also you can choose the dry methods. Okay, the example of moisture sensitive drugs are aspirin and vitamins. These are generally moisture sensitive drugs. For manufacturing of their tablet, mostly we are using dry methods. Okay, then steps in a granulation. Now first step in granulation is compaction of powder, dry granulation. Specifically we are talking about the compression granulation. Now firstly, compaction of powder means we are compacting a powder, then we are preparing a compact of powder by applying certain force. Then secondly, we will mill the tablets, we will mill this powder, or we again break that powder and again we can screen that powder. Okay, and similar step we can go on repeating. That particular steps we are following in dry granulation, and one by one we will see everyone. Now how we can do it, how we can do the dry granulation, that we are going to say. We are doing dry granulation by two ways. Okay, first is called as a slugging. It is done for the large tablet produced in a heavy duty tablet press. Okay, what we are doing in a slugging, we are preparing a large tablets in a tablet machine or tablet press. Okay, and after that we are again breaking this tablet. Okay, due to that what will happen, the powder particles will develop a certain forces in between them and they will get converted into aggregates of particles. Okay, means what we are doing, we are preparing our powder blend, we are mixing all the excipients with our drug. Okay, after that we are running that powder in a tablet press to form a large tablets. Okay, in a heavy duty tablet press. After that we can remove the we can get that large tablet, we can break this large tablet, or we can grind this large tablet. Okay, then it will give you granules. If then in this first step, If you will not get a granules, you can again take this particular powder, again we go for the slugging, and again we can break this tablet, screen the tablet. We are go on repeating till we will not get a granules. This is the first way by which we are doing a compression granulation. And second way is that roller compaction. We are using a machine called as a chilsonator to prepare the compression granulation. In that powder is squeezed between two rollers to produce a sheet of material. Means whatever the powder is there, we can press that powder into two rollers which are rotating in the opposite direction. We are going to learn this in a detail. In the next lecture we are going to learn about the various types of granulators, wet granulators and dye granulators. In that we are going to study it in a details with its mechanism. I am also going to show you its animation so that you will betterly get understood this. Okay, whatever happen in a roller compaction, there are two actually rollers. They are rotating in a opposite direction of each other, and whenever powder will go through these two rollers, the powder we can say the sheet of powder material is prepared, and this sheet of powder material will again we can grind them, and we will get a granules. If we will not get a granules, we can repeat the procedure. Likewise slugging, whatever we have did it in a slugging, same thing we can do it in a roller compactor. But only the difference is in slugging and roller compaction is that in slugging we need to produce initially a large tablets by using heavy duty compression machines or compression press, and in case of roller compactor we are using a machine called it as a chilsonator. Okay, or it is also called as a roller compactor. Okay, don't forget chilsonator and roller compactor is one and the same. Now next, the equipments, which are the different equipments, has two parts. These equipments has a two-part machine for compressing dry powder to form a compacts, and second part, first part is machine, means whatever your chilsonator has a two parts, that is machine for compressing dry powders to form a compacts, means whatever the two oppositely rotating rollers. Okay, that is one part, and second part is that milling for breaking these intermediates into the granules. That's whatever the sheets will form after the rotating in the rolls, these sheets will get converted into the granules by the use of mill. For that purpose, the upper part chilsonator we are using, which is having both the parts, or sometimes if you are doing just your slugging, then for breaking we can use a hammer mill. These are the equipments generally we are using in a dry granulation. Now compression granulation, it mainly involves three steps: milling of drug, whatever the compression granulation steps. First step, we are always doing a milling of your drug in a roller compactor, or we can say in a formulating a large tablet. Second, mixing of drug and excipients, then we are mixing, and then we are go for the final tablet granulation. Then the disadvantage of this we can say compression granulation is that the first disadvantage is capping. Okay, the capping you can observe in this figure. The most disadvantage is that there is an absence of moisture in your powder, so that there might be a chances of capping. That is just nothing but a separation of your crown of your tablet. You can observe in this particular figure, that is separation of crown in two parts, that is one part upper part and lower part, crown and body. And second disadvantage is lamination. Your tablet may get break in more than two parts, that is lamination. Okay, these are the two basic and important we can say disadvantages of our dry methods. Generally capping and lamination is frequent in the dry methods. And secondly, the equipments are very expensive. Whatever the equipments we are using for the dry granulation, that is chilsonator, hammer mill, these are highly expensive equipments. That is the disadvantage of your dry techniques of granulation. The next one is wet granulation. Now what happen in wet granulation? In this, the powder, medicament and other excipients are moistened with the granulating agent. Now you tell me, what do we mean by granulating agents? Or whatever the excipients we have used we have learned in the previous lecture. Among these excipients, which excipients we can call them as a granulating agents? Tell me, unmute yourself and tell me this. What happens?
Which would help in the aggregation of particles.
The liquid which will help in a aggregation of particles.
Aggregation of
Okay, that is right. We can call it as, or the, we can say, or the agents that will promote the aggregation of particles. Okay, now you tell me, among the additives used in a tablet that we have learned in the previous lecture, okay, among these additives, which are the additives we can say that it act as a granulating agents? We have seen the diluents, binders, disintegrant, anti-adherent, lubricant, glidants. Among these all, what we can, you will think, which will be act as a granulating agent?
Binder.
That's correct. Mostly the binders. Okay, binders will promote the formation of granules by binding two particles to each other. Okay, initial role is that. Okay, and these are mostly act as a granulating agents. Now we will see steps in a weight granulation. Which are the different steps in a weight granulation? That is first step. What happen in a first step granulation? We will always mix the drugs and excipient. Whatever you are in a dry state. Okay, whatever your drug is there in a dry state, we will mix our drugs and excipient. Then our second step is that mixing of binder solution with a powder mixture to form a weight mass. Okay, now in this case we cannot add binder as a dry powder. We need to prepare its solution. Either, I have already told you, weight granulation is of two types: aqueous weight granulation and non-aqueous weight granulation. Means what? You can prepare a binder solution either in a water or in a solvents, organic solvents like ethanol. Okay, in that particular organic solvents, volatile organic solvents, you can prepare a solution, and then this we can add it in a we can say our powder mixture, so that to promote the formation of aggregation. Then third step, who will tell me the third step? What will be the step after that? I think you might have prepared a granules in a first year, effervescent granules. What will be the next step? First step, you are taking our drug, we are taking our excipients, okay, like your disintegrants, diluents, okay, then we are adding, we are mixing it with our drugs. Then in second step, we are preparing a binder solution. That binder solution we are going to add in our step 1 powder mixture. Then what will be the third method or third step? Be fast.
drying.
Oh no, not drying. Here we just have form of mass, weight mass. Okay, it will be a weight mass. Here our yes, you are right.
Sieving.
Yes, pardon, repeat again.
Sieving.
Okay,
To
sieving.
get the uniform granules.
Okay, sieving. Okay, sieving is a step, but it is not a third step. We are saying that the core screening of weight mass. Okay, what we are doing initially, it is not for a uniform size. You are saying sieving or screening, it is right, but we are doing this screening of weight mass using suitable sieve, that is 6 to 12, so that you will get a granules. Okay, in this step these granules are still not a uniform size. Okay, you will get some rod shaped granules also there. Okay, because of your mass is weight 1. Okay, the next step, fourth step is that means whatever the weight mass is there, we can simply pass this weight mass forcefully through the sheaves, and whatever the granules you will get at the bottom, then the 4 steps, drying of these moist granules. Now we will dry these moist granules. Now we are going to dry this in a suitable dryer, like tray dryers are there. Okay, in that dryers we are going to dry these granules, and lastly again we are doing the screening or sieving of granules through a suitable sieve, that is 14 to 20 mesh screen. Okay, that is 14 to 20 mesh screen, so that you will get a uniform size of granules. Don't forget the mesh sizes in step number 3, that is core screening of weight mass using suitable sieve. If you are passing weight mass through the sieves, then sieve should be 6 to 12. Okay, screen size is 6 to 12 screen. Then if you are screening the dry granules for the uniform size, then we can say the sieve size is 14 to 20. Okay, don't be confused. Many times there is a question on GPAT also on this. The dry granulation generally 14 to 20 mesh screen size, and in a case of wet mass, if you are passing it for the preparation of granules, then it is a 6 to 12 mesh screen. Okay. Then next, now granulating liquids. Now what are granulating liquids? These are means whatever the liquids or solutions we are preparing to prepare a binder solution or granulating liquid. These are generally volatile and non-toxic liquids we are using in case of granulating liquid. Then example, water also we are using, ethanol, propanol or isopropyl alcohol we are also saying it. Then secondly, binding agents. Which are the binder agents we are using? Generally natural polymers like starch, pre-gelatinized starch, these are we are using. And then the synthetic binders like PVP, that is polyvinyl pyrrolidone, that EMC is methyl cellulose, then HPMC hydroxypropyl methyl cellulose, and also nowadays maltodextrins are also used as a binding agents in a granulation. Most commonly used binder is the starch and pleginite starch because of its cheap and it is having a good property of binding, as well as it will show you some property of disintegration, so disintegrant, so that the starch and pleginite starch are popular binding agents in a tablet granulations. Okay. Then next we will see limitations over a wet granulation. What are the limitations of a wet granulation? Will you tell me which are the different limitations? Likewise, we have seen in a dry granulation there are limitations. Okay, in certain cases we cannot use a dry granulation because it will have some capping, some lamination effect. Then what are the limitations of wet granulation? In which cases the wet granulation is not preferable? What do you think? Tell me that. Be fast. Which are the different limitations?
In case of preparation large quantity.
In case of preparation of large quantity, okay, then yes.
When the substance is hygroscopic, then we not use wet granulation.
Okay, when the substance is hygroscopic or deliquescent, in that case also we are not using wet granulation. Then
when the substance is thermolabile.
Okay, substance is thermolabile. Okay, then okay, we will look one by one. Firstly, the time. Okay, whatever the time we will require for the wet granulation is quite higher because we need to do the number of steps as compared with the dry techniques. We are just mixing our tablet and we are preparing the granules. We are mixing our powders and we are preparing granules. In this case, we need to formulate a large number of steps. Likewise, we need to do the mixing, then we need to do the weight mass, then we need to screen it, then we need to dry it, again we need to screen it, and then we will get the granules. That's why the wet granulation is a time consuming process. Then second one, equipments. Whatever the equipments you will require for wet granulation, though it is a cheaper one, but the requirement is high. Means for mixing you will require blenders, for screening you will require sheaves, then for we can say granulation we will require different types of granulators. Okay, then again you will require dryers. Means the requirement of equipment is very high. Okay, that's why that is also a limitation for your wet granulation. Then loss of material. In case of wet granulation, material loss is high as compared to your dry granulation. Then space requirement, all of you come to know that the various equipments you will require, so that the space requirement for the wet granulation is higher as compared with the dry granulation. The next one is energy. Again comes with the energy. All of you can say electrical energy consumption is higher as compared to, because in case of dry granulation we will hardly require one or two equipment only, but here we will require the large number of equipments. then labor. Okay, skilled labor you will require for each and every step for we can say mixing, then granulation, then screening. For all these things we will require a skilled labor, and labor cost is also high in case of wet granulation. That's why the wet granulation will be a costly process as compared to the dry granulation. The methods of we can say wet granulation, generally these are the we can say the granulators. I'm just giving an overview now which are the different types of granulators we are using for the manufacturing of wet granulation and hard granulation, and one by one we will look it in a next lecture. Okay, now first methods or equipments used in a granulation, that is single pot granulation, then high shear mixer granulators, then fluidized wet granulation, and fluid extrusion speronization. That is a we can say specialized technique for the granulation, that also we are going to study. Then what is single pot? The granulation is done in a normal high shear processor and dried in the same equipment. Means whatever the granulation we are preparing in our lab, that is in we are preparing it in our mortar and pestle. Okay, similar thing we can done the granulation in a single pot, and we are drying it in only that pot only. That particular we can call it as a single pot granulation. The single pot industrial granulator is look like this. You can observe here. This is a single pot. There are some mixer and choppers, so that you can easily prepare granules. Okay, that's why it is called as a single pot granulator. Then high shear mixer granulator. In a high shear mixer granulator, dry powder mixing. Okay, we need to do it dry powder mixing approx for 2 to 5 minutes. Then liquid binder. High shear means high speed. Simply we can say high speed granulator. Liquid binder we can add. These are the steps in same mixer. We are mixing our powders, then we can add our binder addition approx 1 to 2 minutes. For 1 to 2 minutes we are going on addition of our binder. Then wet mass, then wet sieve of granules, drying and dry sieve of granules, all things will comes under the high shear mixer granulator. Then we will look how the high shear mixer granulator will look. I have mentioned it here, one link. All of you I think visible. Is that link is visible to you? Here I have mentioned one link of YouTube. Okay, this link is of one of video that will explain the how high shear mixer granulation will give you you can say the wet granules. Okay, we will look that video now. Just wait a minute, I will show you that video. Is the YouTube screen is visible to all?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Wait a minute, I will show you a video. Okay, now you can observe in this video, this is actually GLAT, that is the producer of high shear mixer granulator. They will generally give you, these are the producer of high shear granulator machines. Okay, the GLAT, whatever you can look here, these are the GLATs. Okay, these are the producer of high shear granulator. This will look, in the industry we are mostly using a GLAT granulators for high shear. You can observe this. Okay, that video will explain the whole process of granulation. This is a GLAT granulator, high shear granulator. You can observe. Now charging process means addition of your granules in that particular we can say our granulator. We can charge it. Okay, now it will start rotating. Okay, it has this chopper and this is a mixer blade. This is a chopper and this is a mixer blade, and now we are adding a granulating fluid. Okay, all of you getting this? Okay, and how that granulating fluid addition will form a aggregates of particles, you can observe here in a second window. You can observe this, how that particularly form the weight mass. Okay, that is called as a granulation process. And what is the role of this chopper? The role of this chopper is to chop down the weight mass. Now it is also breaking that weight mass. Okay, now the counter flow. Okay, you can observe this counter flow. What will happen? Okay, actually it will looks like this. Okay, the process is completed and ready for discharging. Means now we will discharge this particular and we can collect our granules. Okay, this whole process now. The Z-shape rotor is at the bottom. You have observed in the figure. For energy efficient 3D mixing, it will mix all over your powder. Then this is a cross-blade chopper. Okay, this chopper will chop down your weight mass. Means whatever the weight mass we are breaking by sieving, it is done it by here by using a chopper. Okay, same video link is available in presentation that I am going to share you in a Google Classroom. That this same presentation I am going to share you with you in a Google Classroom, so that you will get idea about this, or I will share this video in a Google Classroom also. Okay, that is a actual mechanism how dry mixing of this particular high shear granulator is done by using high speed and adding a granulating liquid. All of you are understood from this video?
Yes, sir.
Okay, then from that video you will come to know that how actually shear mixture or wet granulation process will happen. Actually I am not going to I am showing it to you for the reason you will come to know how wet granulation process will happen, how it will create aggregates of particles. You can observe that in this particular figure. Means whenever we are going addition of your liquid binder solution, how it will formulate we can say granules from that. Okay, now next point we are going to study, that is last part in today's lecture, that is granulation characterization. Okay, now how will you characterize our granules? There are 7 different methods by which we can characterize our granules. After it will get your granulation will get completed, then we need to characterize it, or we can say evaluate these granules. First is the particle morphology. Morphology means what? The particle, how it will looks, how its morphology, its surface looks, that we can observe by simply using optical microscopy, or you can also use it as by using scanning electron microscopy, advanced microscopic methods. Then particle size distribution, generally we are using by using sieve analysis or laser light scattering analysis is used for the particle size distribution. Then nature means nature, whether it is highly crystalline, or we can say the shape of your crystals, that we are going to observe by X-ray crystallography or X-ray diffraction study. Then the surface area of particle, that is gas adsorption. I think you have learned it in a physical pharmaceutics, surface area determination, gas adsorption. Which gas we are using to study the surface area in gas adsorption method? Tell me the one of the method. I think you have seen it in a physical pharmaceutics. Yes or no? Gas adsorption to determine
Air permeability.
Okay, but which gas we are using? I am asking that. In case of gas adsorption, there is one method. We have given a name of that gas, and the next 2 words are displacement method, dash displacement method. Which gas? That is helium displacement method. Did you heard about this? That is in there for determination of particle surface area. I think you had learned in a previous year, that is micromeritics. In that particularly there is a method to determine the gas surface area by using gas adsorption. In that first one method is that helium displacement method. Okay, then granule porosity, that is we are generally used for that, we are using mercury intrusion method, that is also available for the granule porosity. Then granule strength, then development of formulation. By developing a formulation you will come to know the granule strength. Then granule flowability and density. Hopper method means you are simply an angle of repose methods that we can do. Then density apparatus, by using density apparatus we are using to calculate bulk density, tap density, and then we can subsequently able to calculate your Cars index that is percent compressibility index, which will give you idea about the complete we can say flow properties of your granules. Okay, this is all about the granulation. Now we'll just revise little bit. Now you tell me what are granule? Anyone?
Granules are aggregation of fine particle of powder in mass of about spherical sphere.
Okay. Okay. Anyone? Okay. Did you understood up to this? Okay. If you want to recording of this, I'm going to add it in within 1 week on this same YouTube channel that I have told you last lecture. Then we'll just revise once. I will just close the presentation so that we will able to revise. Okay. Now I will ask one by one to each and every one. Ganesh Shinde, unmute yourself, Ganesh Shinde, and tell me what do you mean by granules?
Granules are the aggregation of fine particles.
Simply granules are an aggregation of particles. Okay. Then Pratiksha Bhavne, what do you mean by the granulation only? I'm not asking granules, granulation.
Process of formation of granules.
Okay, process of formation of granules. Okay. Okay, you are right. Then Syed, you tell me the types of granulation or methods of granulation.
Dry granulation and wet granulation.
Okay, dry granulation process and wet granulation process. Okay.
Wet granulation.
Okay.
Dry granulation, 2 types, direct compression and compression.
Okay, you are right. Direct compression and compression granulation. Okay. Then Grant Meghale.
Yes, sir.
Tell me the mesh size we are using if you want to screen the dry granules.
Up 14 to 20.
Up to
14
to 20 in case of dry granule.
40 to.
Okay, and in case of wet mass.
6 to 12.
Okay, 6 to 12. That is right.
Yep.
The next Sanket Kole. Now
Yes,
you
sir.
tell me which is the equipment we are using for the compression granulation. Vishal Jadhav.
Yes, sir.
Tell me which is the equipment we are using for the compression granulation.
Sir, first roller compaction, that is a chill spinner, and then hammer mill.
And hammer mill. That is right. Roller compactor and hammer mill.